Hi everyone, my name is Doris Morgado. I am currently in Las Vegas, in Nevada, and I am an actress. So my life before implants was a very active, energetic life. I was playing sports in my university at FIU, and I always seemed to have a lot of energy to not only run track and have multiple practices during the day, but also work and go to school, and just being very lively and not being sick all the time. So what motivated me to get implants is a bit of a complicated story. I feel like it had a lot to do with my self-image. I got them in 2020, and around that time, the industry was all about the bigger the boobs, the sexier the woman, and the more feminine you are. And because I played sports all my life, I had a lot of definition. I'm naturally, I have an athletic body. So as you can see, I have great tonalities in my arms, which I did not like when I was growing up because I just got a lot of comments from people, especially kids, because, you know, when you're young, kids can be kind of cruel. And so it was always this image that I had of myself that I can look a little bit more feminine if my breasts were bigger. And I didn't necessarily feel like I had low self-esteem, but that was just always in the back of my mind of wearing these bras that were like this thick just so that I can feel feminine and sexy. So some of the symptoms that I experienced after having my implants, they weren't immediate, or at least I didn't notice that they were immediate. I continued doing sports and having an active life. And it wasn't until I want to say about my 10-year anniversary of my implants, I started having these minor issues that just started accumulating. First thing that I remember was I went to do just regular routine blood work, and the doctor mentioned that I was at the cusp of having lupus. And that was a big thing for me because my mom has lupus and she's had it since she was 18. So I already knew what lupus was, and it's an autoimmune disorder, and so that kind of freaked me out. And then they also said, well, and you're also at the cusp of having hypothyroidism, and we're gonna, put you on all these medications. And around that time, I started losing my hair, like a lot, almost all of this side. It was just like I was washing my hair and I would come out with chunks of it, and my vision started getting blurred. So it was just, it felt like it happened overnight, but it was just this gradual thing where I was feeling tired and I wasn't feeling good, and I was constantly having allergies and getting sick a lot more often, and also maintained like keeping that cold for a longer period of time. And so I end up going to the doctor, and this is what they tell me, and their solution was, we're just going to put you on thyroid medication, and we're going to put you on medication for lupus, and you're going to go see this specialist and that specialist. And I remember just feeling utterly powerless because I knew what I had seen my mom when she had her episodes in lupus, and I didn't want that to be my story as well. So after I have these doctors tell me all of this and tell me, hey, we're going to put you on these medications, I was lucky enough that my sister-in-law and I were talking, and I told her about the medication, and she looked it up and she said, hey, Doris, if you take this thyroid medication, you're never going to be able to get off of it. And me having a very hyper imagination, I was like, oh my God, what if there's a zombie apocalypse or something and the world ends and I can't get my medication, then I'm dead. And so that funny way of my brain working took me to look for alternatives. And I remember thinking, the body always wants to heal itself. I just need to figure out what it needs to heal itself. And so I went on a journey looking for alternative medicine, looking for nutritionists, just anything and everything that would be able to help me heal my body without having to go the traditional medication, because the medication was, I felt that it was just a band-aid over what my symptoms were. But I wanted to know why I was experiencing this, going from such a healthy living to now all of a sudden having all of these issues pop up out of nowhere. So my aha moment of me deciding to remove my implants came 10 years after this initial issue with my health. I had found a great practitioner that helped heal my body. And I remember when I met with her, one of the things that we discussed was my implants. And she had mentioned to me, it's like, your implants are an issue because you're having some inanimate object that doesn't belong in your body in it. And it's been for a long time. But at that point, I was just breaking into the acting world. I was booking a lot of stuff. I was working constantly, and my roles were always this sexy Latina. And so I was not willing to give that up. And so I made all the other sacrifices, which was being really good about what I was putting into my body, what I was putting on my body, making sure that I exercised, but I took care of myself and ate healthy and slept and all that great stuff. And I was doing fine about close to, I would say, like 18 years into the implants. And I know I had them on for 20 years. I should not have done that. But I did not think that all of these symptoms were caused by the implants. I always imagined when you had issues with your implants, you would have these horrible reactions like you see on the internet where people's skin start falling off and things like that. And so I thought that's how you know. And because I didn't have that, I thought, well, it's genetics, things like that. And so I just kept that eating healthy and all of that process. But around the 18th year, my symptoms all start coming back. My blurred vision, my hair starts falling off, and now I start having allergies where it's popping up on my skin, and I'm starting to have just random days of me touching anything and everything, and all of a sudden I'm getting welts all over my body, and I'm having to wash my skin so that it would go away. So I'm starting to see all of these different things coming back. I'm starting to get tired, and I'm now, if I get a cold, the cold is lasting for 4 or 5 months before I can completely get rid of it. And I finally start looking again. I start trying to get in contact with my old practitioner. And in the midst of that, I'm following her on Instagram, and she reposted someone's post about implant toxicity. And she just had this list of symptoms that people experience. And one of the things that she mentioned was, not everyone has these horrible reactions like I used to think. Some people have this. And I start going down the checklist, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, I'm constantly tired. Oh my God, yes, my immune system is not where it used to be. And I'm just like, check, 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 check. And I think she had about 20 things in that post, and I probably had all of them except for 2. And that's when the aha moment came. It's like, oh my God, I've kept this on 10 years too long. And now everything just came back. And after I saw that post, I closed Instagram. I started looking online of local places out here that would remove the implants as soon as possible. And that was when I made the decision that day, I'm taking them off. So my expectations after the explant were, I want to say, very high. I'm a very optimistic person, and so I thought, okay, as soon as the implants are out, like within 3 days, I'm gonna be back to normal. I honestly even thought that I would be able to start working out within 2 weeks of removing the implants. So I was like, oh, I'm removing something, and my body's gonna be like, yay, we can go back to being the way we were. And it was not. That was not the case. Obviously the body needs to heal after the surgery, but more so than anything, I had the implants for 20 years. I had this in my body, and so it has taken a little bit longer in certain aspects for things to heal, that I honestly thought, okay, it's gonna go away completely. It's gotten better. Like the allergies and things like that, they're not as severe, but they're still there. They still pop up every once in a while, which for me, obviously, it was frustrating because I thought, that's it. Like, implants are gone and my life will go back to what it was 20 years ago. In a month, I honestly thought that that's how I was going to go back. And so it's just dealing with the frustration and knowing, hey, it's getting better. It's not 100%, but I'm taking a step, and every step is getting me closer to being completely healed. After the surgery, I had a couple of things that did improve. My sleep quality improved. My energy, that definitely improved. I did have some things that either didn't improve as fast as I would like it to, and some things that got worse temporarily, and luckily they've been going back up. The biggest thing was having a cold for as long as I would have it. I think a week after my surgery, I ended up getting a cold, and even though it was as strong as I had normally have had it, what would have lasted about 4 months, I think within a 2-month period I was able to be rid of it. And as far as like the allergies for me, those did ramp up significantly after the surgery. And then, talking to practitioners, and they were mentioning, well, your body went through a trauma right now with the surgery and the anesthesia. You had a lot of stuff put into your body, and the antibiotics. So of course your body is already at a weakened state. So just managing those expectations and realizing, okay, not everything's going to go back 100% like a rubber band immediately, but it will. And so it's just taking patience and learning to heal my body and allowing it the time. And luckily, I think within a 6-month period, those allergies that were so severe started going back down and just being manageable at this point. So in the process of me deciding to remove my implants and removing them, I was seeing an acupuncturist. And right after I had my explant surgery, we did do a couple of needling around the scar area, and that helped the scarring completely vanish. I was amazed. I didn't even have any keloids, which I was starting to form some. So that was very helpful. after, though, I still had the symptoms, the allergies and things like that. And so I was lucky enough to find my practitioner. She actually ended up moving to Arizona. So I actually started traveling from Vegas to Arizona to go see her. And some of the things that we implemented were just different supplements that my body needed to heal, to be able to repair the tissues and the muscles around the scar area, and also to help my body detox all of the things that were leaking into my body from 20 years of having the implants. Of course, it was managing my stress, eating clean foods. That was very helpful in making sure that I got enough rest and enough sunlight. So those were things that were manageable, and able to help my body restore itself at a better pace, but also it allowed me to give my body what it needed to heal itself. So I've always had this idea that if I could go back in time and talk to myself before the implants, what would I say? And there's always been this double side, because I still remember that girl and how I felt in my body. And I think, would I want to tell her not to do it, knowing the confidence that it gave me? But then I think, well, look at everything that I had to struggle with. Will that 20-year younger version of me, will she look at it and say, oh, like, that's not that important with the health? And I think what I always go back to is I would talk to myself about my self-image, about what it really means to feel beautiful in your own skin. And I would show her how to focus on other things. But for sure, I would 100% be like, listen here, you're gonna get sick and it's gonna be absolutely horrible. But in the emotional aspect of it, these guys that you're wanting to impress, or this industry that you're trying to get into, that you're trying to impress, at the end of the day, your physical aspect, it's only 1/3 of what you bring to the table. And trust me, that other part is 100 times better and stronger and more important and more significant in your life than what people are going to see on the outside. And I would hope and pray that she would listen to me. So after my explant, I've been lucky enough to talk to a lot of women that have implants or are planning on getting implants. And I've been very open about my experience with them. And if they're on the fence about whether to take their implants off or not, I always encourage them to do it. I share with them my story, and of course everyone's going to be different, but like I would tell my version of 20 years ago, is about the beauty and the standards that our industries have for us, but also the self-image that we have for ourselves, and letting them know that they are beautiful the way that they are. That's always been my thing. And to any other woman that's out there that I haven't had the pleasure of talking to that are considering that, I would encourage you to take that step, because there is nothing in this world that is more important than the health. And I was lucky enough to nip it in the butt at a time where I was able to reverse a lot of the impact that it had, and I was able to find great people to help me do that. And it's not worth not being able to go for a run, not being able to sit in a car with a seatbelt because your implants are pressing into your your rib cage, and it's changing the way of your bone structure. It's not worth questioning whether or not you're going to have to get on some crazy medication that you're going to have adverse reaction to, and then you'll have to do 5 more medications to compensate for everything else that's being done with the other medication and what they're causing your body to do or not do. So my advice is always look at the research, because it's out there. They're hiding it, but it's out there. And is it worth another 5 years of looking this way as opposed to 10, 20, 30 years of dealing with an issue, and diminishing your quality of life? Some of the things that I can do now that I wasn't able to do when I had my implant, especially towards the end, was sit comfortably in a car with my seatbelt on. I know about the last 2 years, my implants were pressing into my rib cage to the point where I constantly had to shift and even hold my implants up so that I would be able to breathe. And my implants were by no means large. I was a small C, full B. So it had nothing to do with the size of it. It was just the amount of time that I had it. It started moving and shifting around my rib cage. I'm able to do workouts like heavy lifting a lot better now because I don't have that weight. And so my back alignment doesn't go out, I would say almost never now. So now I just go to the chiropractor for maintenance once a month because I work out a lot. But it's not because I'm constantly having this pain because I'm having to shift forward because my back's hurting. And I think the best thing of all is I don't have to wear a bra anymore to keep that weight from having me be hunched over my back. So I think that's been the best thing. I got rid of all my bras, and now I'm just like, oh, this feels so much more comfortable, not having like these straps here and pinning me and all this. So now when I look back to my pre-explant self and what I look now and how I see beauty, it has changed, but in a very positive way. I remember when I had just gotten my implants removed, and I went to the doctor the second day, and they removed the bandages and you can see everything. And I remember getting a little bit sad because I thought, oh my God, like they're so tiny. And then I was just like, you know what, this is for my health. But then I started realizing as the swelling went down and my body started feeling better, there was something about the way that my body looked naturally that I don't know why I didn't see it before, but I was like, my body does look feminine and my body does look beautiful, and I looked proportionate. Like everything it's the size that it needs to be for the body that I have. And I fell in love with my body all over again. And I remember like putting on dresses now and not feeling like I had to pin it because I wasn't trying to look really seductive. And now I like even this dress, like with my implants, I would have probably have had to like scoot it up because it would have been up to here, and I would have been like, well, this isn't appropriate for, you know, where I'm going. And now I feel like I have more options to wear things because everything it's more flattering, it fits better. And it's in a way that it's almost like a fog was cleared from my mind, and what I couldn't see before, now I see it so clearly, and I'm in awe. And I can't believe that I didn't see that before, but I guess I had to go through this journey to be able to appreciate it. You know, for me to be an explant thriver, it means to appreciate the little things in life. I am so grateful to have my health back, to feel energetic to be able to spend time with my family. So being an explant thriver is health. That is for me my biggest takeaway from this. I was given a second chance to reclaim all these things that I loved about life and be able to thrive in it.